I wonder. Okay. Why is it so lame? Dark oaks grew, by the way, despite being an autumn tree, although I can't for the life of me remember when I cut those down. What I do need, pretty desperately at this point, and something I want to do before I switch to stone tools, because I should have done this immediately after settling here, is a pathway, a staircase, whatever, something down to my farming area, because that's a lot of jumping. A lot of jumping. My left thumb is very unhappy with me in this playthrough. I tend to waste so much time trying to smooth out things that are very much temporary for no reason in particular other than my perfectionism. Like, this thing is not going to matter in any way. It's going to be gone so fast. And yet I have to make it somewhat presentable. I would assume you've realized by now why I'm playing on easy. My own two legs are a danger to me. How do you expect me to handle mobs? Meanwhile, I'm trying to get a bit of a curve for this pathway here, just because a straight way down would be a horrible, absolutely disgusting sight to see. And considering it's kind of a small scale, simply because the slope of the hill is a bit too steep, I'm using a lot of stairs, although usually I prefer to just go with the slabs to make this thing really like smooth and gradual. And I will find a way how to make it flow more smoothly here, just again later. Later, everything is later. This is purely functional. I don't have food yet, even. None of this has to look pretty. Now this is finally walkable. My thumb may rest in peace. Why did I say that? The time has come. This is finally happening. The pickaxe, the axe, the hoe. We now have stone. It might not be that big of an upgrade to you, but me who spent 3 or 4 hours gathering resources and terraforming with wooden tools. Oh, yes, baby. Oh, by the way, this thing exists now. I can be a chef. Another hilarious addition from Rex More Foods. This mod, people, this mod. I'm kind of grateful to Farmer's Delight for letting me down. This thing is absolutely amazing. Oh boy, I'm flying down these stairs. This is such a relief. Ah, life is getting better. After wooden tools, stone. Stone feels like Instamine, especially the shovel. Just look at this, I live in luxury. This no rush principle really makes you appreciate what you have, doesn't it? So now that we have stone tools, we have entered the next stage of my grandiose genius plan, which finally includes mining. Except there's a caveat, there's always a caveat. I can only mine the resources that are naturally exposed, meaning I can only mine something that pops up on surface or something I find in a natural cave. AKA, I'm not allowed to strip mine or anything of the sorts. And this is exactly how you know this plan was initially made for 1.16 because I'm finding strip mining is not as popular as it used to be due to the changes to the world generation and how the ores spawn and how the caves are looking and all of that. But anyway, we can finally mine coal, which I'm not gonna do because I got very comfortable with charcoal. You can roast me for the wrong pronunciation if it was wrong because, well, English is my third language. I'm interested in mining different stone types. I'm interested in maybe iron. I can mine it, but I'm not allowed to smelt it. And it would be wonderful if I could go into the caves, at least with some protection on me. And this is the stage where I am allowed to make leather armor. It's not the best armor, but it's armor nonetheless. If only I had any leather to my name. Serene Seasons. But yeah, I will probably avoid going anywhere near caves until summer finally rolls in and I can breed my cows and get my leather armor. So that's one of the goals of this stage. Another one is making a some semblance of a proper house. An overhang is nice and all, but I would like some security. Not to mention my frog infestation here. So I'm thinking hiding inside that cliff wall might be a good idea for now. This is one of the reasons why I chose this hill slash mountain. There are pretty cool things you can do with this. So let's finally get to mining. No. Come on. Yes! I'm speed itself now. Monsters? Anyone? Happily burning. Good. My question is, where is this skeleton? Where is he even hiding? There are no trees on top of that hill. Anyway, I think it's time I go move my stuff. Farewell, you bitter reminder of my questionable life choices. Hey, Maud, you are forgiven. So, my natural instinct would be to go left, I think. So, this is where the bed should be. And then the utilities on the opposite side, nearer to the entrance. This should do for now. I have a sneaking suspicion that the skeleton is actually behind this wall. Yep. The problem is that it could be above me or below me. So let's hope it doesn't. Oh. Oh. Oh, right. It was here. Yep. Yeah. I need to light this up. Of course, there's a creeper. One down. And now I have gunpowder that I need a designated chest for. Brilliant. I'll shove it in here for now. You know what? This is going to be a nightmare. So, I've spent some time thinking about what I want to do with this little nook of mine, and I've decided that I want a platform. A platform that protrudes from the side of the cliff, but not too much, and an overhang above it. And I want it to be all crooked and slanted and rickety. So, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's going to obstruct this gorgeous view a little bit, but we'll figure things out. We sure will. Something like that, except I need to move the ladder now. I figured I could do some shading while I'm at it, so it's gonna be darker in the back. Like so. Man, that's too much dark actually. It doesn't look good. Get out of here. Nah, that's more like it. You know what? I'll better do a time lapse. Here I decided to jump straight into the rickety part of it and replace some of the slabs with campfires. plus adding just a little bit of highlight with those oak slabs on the edge. And I could blame this dilapidated state on the strong wind and mountains and the weather and the neighboring swamp, but the truth is that the flooring just can't survive my endless running around for too long. So, this is why the platform looks like it's been stepped on by 3 generations of people already, and the overhang looks just fine. I struggled with it quite a lot, as you can see, by the way, but I still wasn't satisfied. It's that I wanted the entrance to slope left and the overhang to slope right, so that they look balanced together, but I just couldn't get it right. And then I attempted adding the supports, which I have to say don't look like they can support much of anything, but I honestly like it that way. I think it adds quite a lot to the whole rickety vibe of the place and ties it into the terrain quite well. Well, what do you know? I struggled with these too. And that's what an instant regret looks like. I thought this overhang was never going to be done. And yes, I did in fact make a spiral staircase out of dirt, because as you may remember, I never watch where I step. So falling off and re-towering up got really old really fast. On the inside, I added logs as supports, mostly to give this otherwise uninteresting stone box a little bit of shape. And then I had a brilliant idea to make a nook for all of my storage. I could have gone for the classic 2-3 rows of double chests, but that wouldn't be efficient and wouldn't be pretty too, so that's what I ended up with. The big plus of this configuration is that I won't need to label any of this because I can easily remember what's where. And it's done. What a nice pile of boxes. I'm not going to be lost in this mess, I promise. It's very intuitive, everything is accessible. This is why I use the combination of chests and barrels. It's very convenient. Now, an interesting thing that I've discovered is the desired placement of wood and stone, because this chest right here, I put wood in it because it was the first thing that I moved. It's like the most used material and the most farmed material. It should be close to the entrance, right? It just makes sense. Well, apparently not for my brain, because time and time again I kept reaching for it to find stone, which I put in the next one, and it just didn't work. So stone goes here into these barrels right next to the entrance, where my brain thinks they should be, and the wood is gonna go into the chests a little bit further away. You see, there is no fighting your own brain. You can trick it, but you can't face it in an open fight, because it will have its way. That is something I've learned over the years of having a brain. It's helpful on most days, but there are other days too. A lot of them actually, too many. Another thing to consider is how you categorize your items, because there are many ways to do it. And the one I prefer is by the tool you use to pick them up. For example, these are diggables, something you use a shovel on, and stone is a mineable because you use the pickaxe, and so on and so forth, regardless of what it is. There are a few notable exceptions though, like for example wool blocks or concrete and concrete powder. They all go under the category of colored blocks because I use them all as building blocks. They are basically a bundle, but they come from different origins, so I tend to group them. The wood, though, the wood is a different thing altogether because there are these things that don't have a wood type, regardless of what you make them of. So they're miscellaneous, they go separately. Then there are a bunch of wood types, like a dozen or so. And within those wood types, there are planks, logs, stripped logs, stairs, slabs, fences, you name it. Everything in the world is made out of wood, and you have to fit it into your storage somehow so that it would make sense and you could find it easily. And the worst part is, even if you don't plan on storing stairs and all the little things, you prefer to only store logs, for example, unstripped, like raw. Raw logs, okay. But then you finish a build and there's so much leftover stuff, unless you calculated it perfectly. Except, even if you did, the crafting recipes won't allow you to not have some overflow laying around. So you will have to find place for it anyway. You will have to account for it anyway. There is no escape. Back to the topic at hand. So, storing wood is a disaster. And the only way I've found that I can manage this effectively is that I account for all these little things in advance. I just sit in there when I'm setting up my storage and I craft all these things out of every single wood type. And the most essential part is this: when I'm filling every single slot in every single chest with the things that go into this specific chest, so there are no empty slots. So even if I misclick when I'm emptying my inventory after I've finished a build or something, even if I misclick, and I know I will, oh boy, do I know, it's not going to create a mess. You're not gonna lose it. You won't need to find it later on because it wouldn't be able to enter. It's physically impossible to mess this up. It's foolproofing your storage system from yourself because you know you're an idiot. This is the only way I can have a proper storage that works. But it does work. So I guess I'm not that much of an idiot in the end. I hope. Uh, there are gonna be, I guess, fence gates and doors too, so there will be some empty slots left. For now, not for long. So now what's left is the most dreadful part of it all, which is items. Because blocks are pretty easy to categorize and or whatnot. But items, oh boy. Let's start with mod drops. They're the easiest category to figure out. Although you have meats that are food, so they go separately because you're going to cook them. But they are dropping from mobs. And then there's rotten flesh. That is also a food that drops from a mob, but it doesn't count because you're not gonna use it as food unless you don't have any other option available. So this is convoluted. Usually, I prefer to keep all of my foods and food related stuff in a completely separate storage because I like to set up a little bit of a kitchen space, and this is where all of my vegetables, other edible plants, meats, mushrooms, like everything food related goes. Um, so I guess I'll need a second nuke just for that. But for the time being, I think I will put all of the fruit and berries and all of that into my main storage, and all of the foods that I'm going to cook in some way, I'm going to put into the kitchen or a kitchenette in this case because it's going to be so tiny. I have an idea. Ta-da! I don't have much room to spare, so this seems like a waste of perfectly fillable 2 by 6 blocks of space, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make these 2 by 6 blocks a walkway, and the rest of that side is going to be my kitchenette. So this is how I'm going to make it seem presentable, make it look cozy somewhat, and still keep the maximum functionality in this tiny space. Guys, I think he learned his lesson from the last time. I th- oh, give me a give me a dang moment. He did learn his lesson. Or perhaps he tried jumping off of this little cliff for a sad, sad reason on purpose because he missed his llamas, previous llamas, and these are not the same. I don't know. Perhaps we're witnessing a wandering trader subplot emerging from the very fabric of the game. I mean, welcome. Stay tuned. Let's put the meat right next to the heat source so that it could rot faster, you know? I wonder, by the way, are there any mods that make your food spoil over time for Minecraft? I know there are for Skyrim, for example, but I haven't seen anything like it for Minecraft. Maybe I should explore CurseForge for some time. As if I didn't do that enough already. Oh my god. The last bit of storage for now goes down there, right next to the field that is actually fully grown. Oh my god. We're going to have our first harvest of potatoes, full harvest, 2 fields. Yay. Just so you know, when I say field, I mean a 9 by 9 blocks area of soil that is watered by one single block of water in the middle. 9 by 9 is like as far as this one block of water reaches. So that's the most you can have out of it. It's like a measurement unit for me. I measure my crops in fields. 9 by 9. Am I weird? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but still. You will never, not in 1,000 years, guess why I'm doing this. I know for sure, and I still can't believe it. In all honesty, I may as well be dreaming right now. I remembered a thing! I remembered something! Yay! Of course, I had to put them in the chronological order instead of the order of importance. It makes so much sense, people. Don't ask. I'm exasperated with myself more than you'll ever be. Well, at least my base is within the first page.